Another battle droid. I chose the security droid over the other two because his torso is red, and red is my favorite color. That's pretty much the only reason. It doesn't look dull compared to the commander and standard battle droid because of the change in color, I guess. He's the exact same as the other droids in every other aspect. He can't jump, he doesn't have auto aim, yada 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 yada. Guess what? There's only one more droid to go over, and we're finally out of the rut that is the stupid, shitty battle droids. Here's the last battle droid. I chose the Geonosis battle droid over the other for the reason that the other three battle droids were all the same, just with a different colored torso. The Geonosis rendition is a different color entirely. I'm probably making it sound like I'm moderately excited about this droid, but I'm not. He's just the most different. If you think I did a good job at finding redundant things to say about 4 different battle droids, rate, comment, and subscribe. It could be worse. Later in the list, I have to talk about Princess Leia 7 times in a row. Why the hell are there 7 versions of Leia? Now that we're done with the battle droids, it's time to cover the Astromechs. There are only 3 in the game. This one is put as the worst Astromech because one of the other Astromechs is iconic and another just looks cooler. R4 is a filler character. A filler character is a character that is put in level only because there has to be a minimum of 2 playable characters. LEGO games have always had co-op, so when there's a scene in a movie where only one person is involved, they have to put in another character for the little sibling to play. In R4P17's case, the Discovery on Camino level is the level where he's dumped in. I'd hate to be the little brother that is stuck playing an Astromech while the older sibling plays ObiWan Kenobi. You know him, you probably love him, and he showed up in all 7 Star Wars films. That's right, it's R2-D2. He's placed above R4 for the reason that he's more iconic. Everyone remembers R2. R4P17 is just one number too long. Astromechs in this game can't necessarily fight, so you may be wondering why I placed them above the battle droids. Well, here's the reason. Astromechs can do so much more. The battle droids can just run and shoot their blaster. Astromechs have a specialized handle for them, and you need them to finish most levels. They can also disable droids for a short amount of time. There are more reasons, and I'll explain it in the next segment. I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure R2-Q5 is less known than R4, but he looks cooler than R2 and R4 combined. He looks the exact same as the other Astromechs, just with a different color scheme. Believe it or not, there are still more things an Astromech can do. One thing is hovering. Astromechs can hover across large gaps to get to new areas. There are only 5 characters in the entire game that can hover, and 3 of those 5 are Astromechs. Also, enemies don't attack Astromechs, or any droid for that matter. The only characters that attack Astromechs, and I use that term loosely, are Jawas and Ugnaughts. This guy is one of those characters that are only in the roster because he showed up as an enemy for 2 levels. I would have put Astromechs higher than Gamorrean Guard, but I didn't because the Guard can actually fight. Barely though. He just has an axe and he's just terrible. These guys made themselves look okay when you fought them in Jabba's palace and the sail barge levels, but that's only because they can block your attacks. But when you play them, they aren't anything special. They have no special abilities that make them useful or anything. These guys are on the same boat as the Gamorrean Guard. I'll be honest, I have a little bit of a soft spot for Ewoks. Now, I know their role in Return of the Jedi is really stupid and these man-eating teddy bears don't deserve any recognition. But to be honest, they're better than Gungans. Generally, I mean. Ewoks are better than Gungans in general.
At least you're fine on me now, okay?
In this game, however, Gungans are better than Ewoks in terms of how useful they are. Ewoks are shorties, so that's good, I guess. I suppose you use those shorty hatches more often than having to use Jar Jar's high jump. Other than that, Ewoks are terrible for fighting enemies. They have a slingshot. Slingshot. At least in LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, the Ewoks are given a bow and arrow. Wicket is just a characterized Ewok. They just recolored his hood from brown to red and called it a day. He possesses the same exact abilities as a standard Ewok too. You unlock Wicket after you complete the Battle of Endor level. No one played as him unless you absolutely had to. For example, there are several cases when you had to use the hatches in that level. To be honest, I'd rather play as Archer than as Wicket. But I still put Ewoks above the Astromechs because they are able to fight. They can't fight well, but at least they can. I'll be honest, I don't know much about this gift card. I don't know a ton about a lot of characters on this list, really. Mostly because a lot of characters in this game don't do anything important, I should say. The Skiff Guard is one of them. He's nothing special. He's basically just a stormtrooper with a different skin. Upon some research, I found out that despite him being named Skiff Guard in the game, he actually has a name. Pagetti Rook. But I'll call him Spaghetti for obvious reasons. You gotta give props to George Lucas for giving names to pretty much everyone, even if they're an extra. Did you know that the Death Sticks guy from episode 2 has a name? His name is Elon Sleazebagano. Sleazebagano. You can't make this up, kids. Why isn't Sleazebagano a playable character? Someone should start a petition to request the LEGO Games to make an episode 2 DLC for LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens with the Death Sticks guy in it. Before we move on, I'd like to point out that while writing the script, apparently Death Sticks gets a red line under it, but Sleazebagano doesn't. What a world we live in. Jabba's variety in workers definitely has range, and by that I mean like 3 different characters. This is the Palace Guard. It looks exactly like Lando when he's in his Palace Guard disguise, as you might imagine. They may look alike, but the real Palace Guard fights like spaghetti over there. A ton of characters like these fight the same. By these characters, I mean enemies you face in levels and allies that you see in the background of levels. The designers didn't bother doing much to these characters because they know you'd be playing someone cooler like Darth Maul or Boba Fett. This guy's name is Pagetti Rook. What a loser.